Popular TikToker Mr. Prada is behind bars in Texas tonight on that warrant out of Baton Rouge.
What would drive a young man, famous, adored by millions, and seemingly living the dream, to commit a crime so shocking, so brutal that it leaves an entire community in disbelief? The tragic story of Mr. Prada is one that few saw coming. He was known for his charisma, his stylish flair, and his ability to captivate millions of fans on TikTok. But behind the viral videos and online fame, a darker narrative was unfolding. A story that would culminate in the gruesome murder of a 69-year-old therapist from Louisiana. William Nicholas Abraham, a kind man, a healer by trade, and a devoted therapist who spent decades helping others untangle the complexities of their own lives. He wasn't just a professional, he was a beacon of hope for those struggling with their inner demons. Yet, on a quiet highway in Louisiana far from his office, his life would come to a violent and tragic end. The events that led to this moment are as shocking as they are heartbreaking. And today, we'll dive into the mystery. How did a TikTok star and a respected therapist cross paths? What could possibly connect their two very different lives? And perhaps most hauntingly, why? To understand what happened, we need to take a step back. The story doesn't begin with a murder, it begins with a chase. A chase that began when a 20-year-old social media star was spotted driving in the victim's black Lincoln MKZ, some 400 miles away in Texas, Dallas, Texas. A routine patrol quickly spirals into chaos. Police officers spot the black Lincoln MKZ that had been reported stolen in connection to the murder of William Abraham. They signal for the driver to pull over, but instead of complying, the driver, Terrion Ishmael Thomas, makes a choice that will change everything. Thomas doesn't stop. He slams the vehicle into a police car, speeds through traffic lights, and eventually crashes. But before officers can apprehend him, he makes a bold escape, fleeing on foot into the night. It wasn't long before authorities tracked him down, arresting him and charging him with a litany of offenses: aggravated criminal damage, resisting an officer, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and now, second-degree murder. But the question remains, how did we get here? To understand the gravity of this situation, let's go back to that fateful Saturday. Abraham's family recalled the day like any other. He left home to clean his car, intending to head to his office afterward to finish some paperwork. Hours passed, and Abraham, known for his punctuality, didn't return. We thought maybe he got busy. He's always at the office late, helping people. But this time something felt off. It wasn't until Sunday morning, miles away from his office, that Abraham's lifeless body was found rolled up in a piece of tarp on the side of a highway. The details of his death were chilling. Blunt force trauma, violent bruises all over his head and neck. Detectives knew they were dealing with a murder. This was no accident. This was no random attack. This was something much darker. The discovery of Abraham's body sent shockwaves through the small Louisiana community. But the case took an even darker turn when surveillance footage emerged, showing Terrion Thomas, Mr. Prada, in the vicinity around the time of the murder. He was quickly labeled a person of interest, and the search for him began. Fans of Mr. Prada were stunned. How could someone who brought so much joy, who seemed to be living his best life online, suddenly be tied to such a horrific crime? The pressure of fame, especially at a young age, can often mask deeper issues. People present a polished version of themselves online, but that's not always the full picture. We still don't know if there's a direct motive in this case, but it's possible that underlying factors played a role. The online world was quick to react. Some fans expressed disbelief, adamantly defending Thomas. Others were shocked and horrified, unable to reconcile the person they knew from TikTok with the one now being charged with second-degree murder. As investigators piece together the timeline, there are still many questions that remain unanswered. Was this murder planned, or was it a crime of passion? Did Terrion Thomas know William Abraham, or was this a chance encounter that spiraled out of control? It's heartbreaking. We all knew William. He was a good man, always helping others. It's hard to believe something like this could happen here. I think people forget that these influencers are still just people. They have problems like anyone else, but this is something else entirely. As the legal process moves forward, the world watches in anticipation. Terrion Thomas faces charges that could put him behind bars for the rest of his life. His rise to fame was fast, but his fall, brought about by this violent act, was even faster. The tragic death of William Abraham serves as a sobering reminder that behind the screens, behind the glamour of social media, real lives are at stake. For his family, justice is the only solace left. And for Terrion Thomas, what could have been a bright future is now clouded by the weight of his actions. While the legal system will decide Terrion Thomas's fate, the emotional toll is undeniable. William Abraham's life was one of service. For decades, he dedicated himself to helping others confront their inner struggles, only for his own life to be cut short by unimaginable violence. Abraham wasn't just a therapist, he was a mentor, a guide, and for many, a lifeline. His clients have since come forward, sharing stories of how he helped them overcome depression, anxiety, and grief. His compassion and wisdom were legendary in the community. His tragic death leaves behind a void that will be felt for years to come. William saved my life. I was at my lowest point when I met him, and through his guidance I found myself again. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that he's gone, and in such a horrific way. He was more than a therapist, he was a friend to all of us. He would always go the extra mile for his patients, and now, we're left wondering why someone so good had to suffer so much. As the case moves to trial, the community waits with bated breath. For them, justice isn't just about punishing the guilty, it's about honoring the life that was lost, about making sense of the senseless. But will they ever get the answers they seek? Second-degree murder is a serious charge. If convicted, Terrion Thomas could face life in prison without the possibility of parole. However, the defense may argue mitigating circumstances, such as mental health struggles or a lack of premeditation, to reduce the severity of the sentence. But given the brutality of the crime, the prosecution will likely push for the maximum penalty. The trial will bring its own revelations. Will we finally understand the relationship between Terrion Thomas and William Abraham? Or will the truth remain forever shrouded in mystery? For now, all we can do is speculate. The internet is awash with theories. Some claim there's more to this story than we're being told, whispers of a hidden connection between the two men. Others think it was a chance encounter, a random act of violence fueled by the pressures of fame and mental health struggles. But for the community of Fluker, none of the speculation matters. What matters is remembering the man they loved. A man who gave his life to helping others, only for his own life to be taken in such a brutal and senseless manner. My father was a kind, gentle soul. He didn't deserve this. We want justice, but more than anything, we want people to remember who he was. A man who helped everyone he met, even when he had his own struggles. He was our rock. As for Terrion Thomas, the world that once celebrated him is now watching his every move. His fame, once built on dance challenges and flashy outfits, has taken a dark turn. What led him down this path? Was it the pressure of his newfound fame, or something deeper that none of his millions of fans ever saw? The answers may emerge in the weeks and months ahead, but as we wait, one thing is certain. This story is far from over. The lives of both Terrion Thomas and William Abraham have been forever altered, and the impact of this tragic event will continue to ripple across the communities they touched. And with that, we conclude today's story. A case that started with a car chase, led to a horrific murder, and now leaves us all questioning the fragility of life and the duality of fame. Before we end, let's take a moment to reflect on the real heart of this story, the lives forever impacted by this tragedy. William Nicholas Abraham was more than just a name in the headlines. He was a father, a friend, a healer. His life's work was dedicated to helping others find peace and healing in their own lives, and in the end, it is his legacy that remains. For those who knew him, William was a beacon of hope. His death has left a void that will be difficult, if not impossible, to fill. The grief his family and community are feeling is immeasurable, and while justice will take its course, we must also honor the memory of the man he was. It's important to remember that behind the headlines, behind the court cases, there are real people, real lives that have been irrevocably changed. And as we continue to follow this story, we must do so with compassion and respect for everyone affected. Stories that need to be told. As the sun rises on a new day, it serves as a reminder that life continues, even in the face of tragedy. For the family and friends of William Abraham, each day is a step forward in a long journey of healing. The grief may never fully disappear, but it will evolve into a memory of a man who lived a life of purpose and gave so much to those around him. We often hear about the devastating impact of crimes like this, but what we don't always see are the acts of kindness that follow. Since William's passing, his clients, friends, and family have shared countless stories of how he changed their lives. They've come together to honor his memory, creating a community of support that reflects the very values William stood for. Meanwhile, all eyes are on the impending trial of Terrion Thomas. His story, once defined by viral fame and millions of followers, is now overshadowed by the questions surrounding his involvement in this horrific crime. As we wait for the legal process to unfold, we are left with more questions than answers. Was this a moment of madness, or was there something deeper at play? Cases like these are incredibly complicated. On one hand, you have the violent crime itself, but on the other, you have to consider the factors that may have contributed to it. Fame at a young age can be overwhelming, especially when it comes so suddenly. There's a lot we still don't know about the effects of social media fame on mental health, particularly for those in their formative years. It can create a false sense of reality and an enormous amount of pressure to maintain that image. The story of Terrion Thomas serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of fame. One day, you're a beloved figure to millions, and the next, your world comes crashing down. His social media presence, once a space for joy and entertainment, is now filled with uncertainty, as fans struggle to reconcile the person they followed with the crime he's accused of committing. The trial will eventually bring the facts to light, but no matter the outcome, the ripples of this tragedy will be felt far and wide. 2 lives, one lost, one forever altered, and a community left searching for answers. Justice will take its course, but closure may remain elusive. As we close today's story, it's important to remember that while the headlines focus on crime and punishment, at the heart of every tragedy are people. People who deserve to be remembered for who they were, not just how they died. William Abraham's legacy will live on through the lives he touched, and his story will continue to remind us of the importance of compassion, understanding, and humanity. If you found this story meaningful, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more true crime explorations, and follow along as we continue to cover important cases. Your support helps us bring these stories to light. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the pressures of fame in today's digital age? Could there be more to this story? We want to hear from you. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember to cherish the people in your life.